For me, people who try to divide other groups or other people in the team, that's toxic behavior. Those are the toxic employees that you have to watch out for. Hey guys, welcome back to the Leadership Stack channel. I'm your host, Sean C, aka Mr. CEO at 22, and today we're going to be discussing a very exciting topic about how to deal with difficult and toxic employees. So if you're a business owner or you have a colleague, coworker who you think is difficult or toxic, first off, what we will do is we'll define what toxic and what difficult means. So when you say it's a difficult employee, it's an employee that really does not want to follow rules, guidelines, is naive of them, or doesn't really put in the time and attention to study them, is reclusive to himself or herself, doesn't really talk with a lot of his or her colleagues. This might also be an employee who doesn't file things that he or she should file so that he or she could get the right salary at the right time. It's always the HR trying to get this employee to straighten up. That could be a difficult employee. Now, a toxic employee is very different, but there's a gray line that might be difficult for you to see between what difficult and toxic is. So for me, a toxic employee would be an employee that would come to a meeting, would give his or her ideas and say, yeah, I'll agree, I'll commit to whatever the decision of the management is, the leaders are. And then right after the meeting would say, actually, I don't really understand why they decided like that. Actually, for me, it's supposedly like this, like that. And then would proceed to leak out information to the rest of his or her teammates and or gossip about it that actually, I don't agree with what he did or she did. Our leader, I don't agree with what they decided on. I think it should be like this. What do you think? Do you think it should also be like that? Another form of toxic behavior is when a person would bully or harass someone else, intimidate someone else, a colleague especially, or maybe someone in the lower ranks, like the security guard, the janitor. For me, that's still a toxic behavior. It's not something that ignites unity, that wants other people to be more united with the rest of the team. For me, people who try to divide other groups or other people in the team, that's toxic behavior. Those are the toxic employees that you have to watch out for. And so how do you deal with these toxic employees? If you're the business owner, first and foremost, I want you to realize it's your fault that you hired them. It's my fault if they're here in my company because we allowed them to be here. That's why your hiring process is so important. And we do have videos about our hiring process. We can link to them on the description below or maybe in this video. The hiring process is super important because that's how you weed out potentially difficult, and potentially toxic employees. See, you're hiring people in order to have a better team, in order for them to help you with the workload, to think with you or to think for you. But when you hire the wrong people, they'll not just not do those things that you really need. They will damage your team and they will drag you down and they'll slow you down. And instead of you growing your business and your people, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be giving you more problems to solve. So realize first, it's our fault as business owners if they got into our team and we have to fix it. How do you fix difficult and toxic people? Well, the good news is for difficult people, what you can do is focus on explaining to them why they have to get their act together. Always explain to them why you do certain things. It is not that pleasant when we go through the airport and have to go through so many checks. We have to take off our shoes, our belt, our socks. You do all these things and you don't understand why you need to do them because it's not explained to you. And it doesn't feel pleasant, doesn't it? And I do believe that if only these airport officials or these airports themselves, the management, would explain to us why we should take these things off, we get a better appreciation of why we should follow all of these rules, all of these security checks that we have to do. And that allows us to say, okay, that makes sense, I'm gonna do that. So I think difficult employees are more of people who just don't understand why you have to do certain things. But if you allow them to learn and understand it, they could have buy-in. They could buy into your culture, into why you do things, into your processes, and they can commit finally and be a part of your united team. Also, with difficult people, put systems and processes in place that would curb their behavior, that would allow them to change their behavior. There has to be penalties, there has to be sanctions. If there are no penalties and sanctions, at the end of the day, you and your team are going to suffer. They're going to suffer if you don't curb the behavior of the difficult employee. They're going to think 10x of the problem. Even if the problem is small, they're gonna blow it up in their heads. So make sure you have rules and regulations that will not allow this difficult employee to keep on doing whatever difficult behavior it is that they're manifesting outwardly towards their other peers. Now, for toxic employees, my advice is you pray for them. It's impossible to change the heart of a person. Only God can do that. So if you really want to keep a toxic employee, you pray for that person night and day and allow God to work His magic. But my advice to you, from a business owner to another business owner, if you have a toxic person in your team, warn them once, warn them about their behavior. I will warn you once, and then we have to part ways. Because there is no way that we're going to not agree on things and not commit on things and still work together. There's no way we can do that. So my advice for you, if you have a toxic employee, as soon as possible, let them go. As soon as legally possible. Every single day that you're keeping that toxic employee, always remember, they're influencing someone in your team, somewhere in your company. They're influencing that person for the worse. If you wanna make sure you have the best possible team that you yourself would love to work with, and you would love your workspace, and you'd love to go into the office every day, make sure it's free of toxic people. Difficult people, you can still change. Difficult people, you can still mentor, you can still teach. But toxic people, I don't think it's our job anymore to change their hearts. It is the Lord's job, it's God's job. As a business owner, be responsible, protect your people, and let the toxic people go. That's my advice. I hope that brought value to you. And if it did, please do support the channel. We have our online store at leadershipstack.com. You can buy t-shirts like this. And it's going to be delivered to you, or you can pick it up. And then we are also on Spotify. If you don't want to watch the YouTube videos because you're busy, you can tune into Spotify and listen to the episodes there. And if it's not too much to ask, please do give us a subscribe, a thumbs up button, and hit that bell notification icon so that when we publish new videos, you would be notified every single time. Again, this is your host, Sean C. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.